Hey Pinkers, I'm Mike Levy. I'm a tech editor at Pinkbike, and I'm here with something real special today. What we're looking at is Uno's Dash trail bike. Now this thing comes right out of Spain, and it costs, get this, the frame alone is 5,000 euro. We look at a lot of expensive bikes at Pinkbike, lots of things that cost 8,000, even $10,000 American. And the way this thing is built up right now, you know, I don't know exactly, but I wouldn't be surprised if it retailed for $12,000, even $13,000. So this thing is designed, tested, and manufactured in Barcelona, Spain by Uno. Now the guy behind Uno, now I might butcher his name here, but it's Cesar Rojo. It's a name you may have heard before. He's the guy that's behind a lot of dual link rear suspension designs, especially the one on the Mondraker. And he's also responsible for their forward geometry, the really long front ends with the short stems that puts your center of gravity behind the front axle. He's not your average company guy. Now, Cesar used to actually race World Cup downhill. He got a 6 at Ligier in 2002, and he was also the Spanish junior champion as well. At 21 though, he left full-time racing and got a master's in industrial design, and he started Cero Design. That employs somewhere around 30 people, and they do a lot of stuff for the motorbike industry, I think some car industry stuff, and a lot of contract work for other mountain bike companies, things they can't talk about. And Uno is their own brand. So the Dash frame is made using 400 different pieces of woven carbon fiber. Now, Cesar says that they use woven fiber instead of unidirectional because it has better impact resistance, and it also has a BASF anti-scratch coating that has a black tint on it that kind of gives it like this stealth look, but you can still see the carbon underneath. It's pretty nice looking. So the Dash is 130 millimeters of rear wheel travel. It's controlled by a dual link design, which is no surprise given that Cesar is responsible for other dual link designs that are already on the market. And what they've done here is they've put on a custom Öhlins shock. It's a 200 mil eye-to-eye with 57 millimeters of stroke. Now the rear end is actually slightly regressive to work with these air cans. So what they're doing there is ensuring that you're actually using all of your travel often enough. Given that the Dash is from Cesar Rojo, the guy that created forward geometry that you see on the Mondraker bikes, you might expect this thing to have a super crazy long front end, but it actually doesn't. So right now Uno is only doing one size, and it's a 455 millimeter reach. It's kind of like a largish. It's similar to like that Orbea Rallon that I reviewed recently, so it's not crazy out of line. What is interesting, it uses a very short head tube, an 85 millimeter tall head tube, which is extremely short, and the head angle is also 65.5, so it's not even crazy slack. It's definitely forward thinking, but it's not way out of line these days. I would call it all around usable geometry, which really makes sense for something with 130 mils in the back and 140 mils up front. So let's get down and take a closer look at this thing. There's some details here that are worth looking at. So the rear end is a 12 by 148 boost, and it looks extremely clean. And what they've done is they've tucked this brake caliper in here. They're not the only ones doing that. It's protected. It also, you know, I think they would tell you that it makes things stiffer, less likely to flex and stuff, but I think the bottom line is it looks pretty fucking nice, doesn't it? Moving up a little bit, we have clearance for 2.5-inch tires if you want. So it's not Plus compatible, but I don't think you'd be putting Plus tires on a bike like this anyway. There's a threaded bottom bracket shell, which is nice and makes it easier to work on. And then on the opposite side, you have your ISCG 05 chain guide tab. So you can do everything from no guide to a guard to a full-size chain guide. If you were gonna race enduro on something like this and you didn't wanna wreck your race day with a drop chain, you can mount whatever you want on there. So up here, we have these links, these aluminum links. Now these are actually made, again, in-house, and they drive this Öhlins shock with 57 millimeters of stroke, and that gives it 130 millimeters of rear wheel travel altogether. One other thing that I want to point out as I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes here is how thin this top tube is. How thin the top tube is, and then it leads to this large seat mast, and it gives the bike a really unique look. It's probably pretty polarizing. I like it. I imagine some other people don't, but I do. Look at the size of this head tube. That's only 85 millimeters. I can't think of another bike company that's doing a head tube that short, off the top of my head anyway. I'm sure you people in the comments will point out 30 different brands to make me look dumb. That's great. So obviously the big talking point here is how much this thing costs. Like I said before, this frame is 5,000 euro. That gets you the frame and an Öhlins shock. That's a hell of a lot of money no matter how you slice it. Again though, value is a subjective thing. Like there's no way I'm gonna tell you this thing is worth that amount of money. I haven't actually ridden this thing yet, so I don't know how well it rides, but I mean, it could be the best bike in the world. Does that mean it's worth 5,000 euro for just a frame? I don't think so. Just to me, no, but to a lot of other people, I think so. There's a lot of bikes out there, there's a lot of frames out there you can get for $3,000, $2,500, for a carbon frame, $4,000 and up. I think something like this is different and it's special, and it's got an interesting story behind it. It's also very limited. They're only making 25 of these right now, and they're probably gonna make more in other sizes down the road. But I guess, if you have the money to spend and you want something that's unique and different, here you go.